So today I'm going to be making a lasagna, and I need to feed a crowd, so I'm going to be making a double batch of lasagna. I'm going to be making 2 9x13 dishes, and hopefully it'll be enough. I think it'll be plenty, but I just want to make sure that there is plenty of food for everybody to go around. But there is a lot that I need to catch you guys up on with the house and what we're about to be doing and what we've been doing. So last week there was not a video, but I did post a short this week, and it was of me hanging wallpaper. I did finish hanging the wallpaper in the entryway, and we're going to start working on the ceiling hopefully tonight. If not, then it'll have to wait until next week because we've got other things going on now. If you guys have followed along, then you probably already know and have watched some of my older videos, and I've talked about how we do our home renovations with cash, and we don't want to borrow money. We don't want to go into debt over it. So we honestly just pay with it as cash as we go. That's why we're so slow about it. But things have changed a little bit, so we are going to be borrowing money from the bank to work on some house renovations, and I will explain why, because we still do not technically want to do this, but we feel like it needs to be done now. We're at that point in the home renovation process where it's starting to cause us a lot of problems, and especially in rooms that are already finished. So we've got to address them, because if not, it is going to cost us more money in the long run. So the number one reason is we are so tired of being cold in the winter, and we were just ready to jump in and go on with another cold winter. But our friends, we've recently just become really good friends with them, probably in the last like several months. But they build houses for a living, and they're actually the ones that have been helping do our entryway. So he did our drywall work in there, and then our plaster repair. His wife actually helped me hang the wallpaper on the top part because I got up on the walkboard and I was way too afraid. I talked about that over on Instagram. But she sat up top and worked on the top section while I was below and lined up the bottom section just so that she wouldn't have to come down and up a bunch. But they have helped us tremendously on our house already. They have offered to help us work on the outside of our house. So they are going to be taking charge on redoing the outside of our house. And we're doing it differently than most people do houses. We know that. But this house has its issues, and we don't want to be dealing with this in years to come. So we want to do it once and do it right the first time. But with that being said, we are trying to borrow as little money as possible. This all has come about very, very quickly, and so we went to the bank and got the money, but our house and land have to be appraised first because we did not take out a personal loan. We went about it differently because of the house renovations, and just a simple fact of like, we don't have tons of money to just be throwing around willy-nilly, you know? So it's sort of a second mortgage, but it's not a second mortgage. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. You could probably go to your bank and they would know what I was talking about if you're interested in doing something like this, but it's not a personal loan. The personal loan, the interest rate and everything was ridiculously high on. So this type of loan, it's sort of a second mortgage. It's based off of your house, and they do have to appraise your house and land and everything. And like I said, we are borrowing as little as possible, but the interest rates are much lower than a typical loan. So the payment is only 1% of whatever you borrow. So if you borrow $10,000, then your payment would only be $100 a month. So that is how we're making this manageable for us, because we truly do not have the money to be borrowing, and we do not want to. But it's going to cost us a lot of money in the long run if we do not do something now. Like I said, I am making a lasagna. I'm just going to go on and continue making this lasagna, even though I may not be in the frame exactly, because I just need to hurry up and get this film for you guys. But I do not have time to sit down, so that's why I'm trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone and do this while I am cooking this, because I am trying to prep as much food as I can today, like the day ahead. That way I can be outside and helping with everybody else and not in the kitchen cooking all day tomorrow. So I am making a double batch of lasagna. This recipe is up on my blog. I'm following it to a T just because it made it so many times before. It is tried and everybody loves it. So I'm just going right with that. I'm not going to explain anything that I'm doing with this lasagna. I'm just going to talk about the house and try and get you guys caught up on that. So while I'm waiting on this pan to heat up, I will chat with you guys a little bit about what we're doing and the issues that is causing, because I get distracted if I'm trying to do two things at once. I'm trying, but I'm terrible at it. So sorry if this is all over the place. Our house has always had issues. It's just not something that I have went around talking about. It's not something that you go around telling everybody or whatever. The number one problem is our windows and our siding leaks horribly. Every time it rains, and in the wintertime, this house is so cold. We cannot keep it heated. We have a commercial outdoor wood stove. I've talked about it before. It should have no problem heating this house for the square footage it is, but it cannot keep up. It runs constantly, and each year we burn about 35 loads of wood. I'm not sure how many cords that is. I know most people go by cords. We go by what we call ricks of wood around here. So it does about 35 ricks or loads of wood, and it honestly wears me out trying to keep up with getting all the wood for it hauled in. It just cannot keep up. So there's nothing wrong with the wood stove. The problem is with our house. It is cold and very drafty. Whenever we first bought the house, we insulated the attic. It was the very first thing we did because we knew we were going to lose all of our heat out of the roof. Don't ask me how. Nobody can tell us, but it changed the way that the wind pattern is or something in this house because it got worse after we insulated the attic. I don't know why. Nobody can tell us why it got worse, but it did. And we did that because hot air rises. We assumed that we would lose all of our heat out the attic. Because whenever we bought the house, the whole entire staircase was like boarded off essentially. They had sheets or plastic, I assume, to keep any heat from going upstairs. So a lot of people did not even use the upstairs in this house. We do, just because that's the warmest in our house, because all the hot air does go up that stairwell. So our bedroom, bathroom, and laundry room, those are all pretty warm. And we do keep an electric heater running at all times up there. And so it does stay pretty warm up there. It's the downstairs part of the house that is the coldest. So to be honest, we are so tired of dealing with that, and it prevents us from doing a lot of stuff. So like family get-togethers in the winter don't really happen here. Like our nieces and nephews cannot stay all night. They'll ask us and we have to say no, it's too cold. So it does hold us back from doing a lot of stuff in this house, but we're hoping this will get it addressed. But back to the siding and the windows. The windows down here on the downstairs part of the house, those are all new windows. The upstairs was original, which whenever we bought the house, 5 of them were busted out. So we did put 5 replacement windows back in, and we need to replace 2 of them because whenever we jacked up part of the house, one of the windows did bust. So we are going to fix that, which that window doesn't cause any problems right now. It just won't shut all the way. So that is why we want to get a new window for up there. But like I was saying, whenever it rains, the entire downstairs leaks, especially the front side of the house. So the side that the front porch is on, which that is north facing for us. And that is where the majority of all of our rain comes from, is either from the north or the west. And those are the 2 sides of the house that we're going to address first. And I'll insert some pictures of what we do whenever it does rain. It honestly had not been a problem. Don't get me wrong, whenever it does rain and the water's coming in around the windows, and it comes in under the siding, the lap siding. So there was vinyl put on over top of it. The vinyl has since blown off. And I'm sure that there is a lot of rotted lap siding under there just because we do have so many issues. But that's also part of why we're having to take it all the way down to the studs. But the leaking, for the most part, in the rooms that are not finished, it's not that big of a deal. We do the best we can with trying to keep any of the water from coming in the house. Does it always work? Not always. So we just do the best we can. But since getting the dining room done, it's been an issue. So the front window, it does leak. So it's only done it a few times, and it usually only happens if the rain comes from the north side of the house, which it has a few times. But I remember once earlier this spring specifically, that's whenever we noticed. We go check around, make sure nothing's leaking. And that side of the house, you could tell it's not the window upstairs leaking, it's the siding. Somehow water comes up under the lap siding whenever it rains, and it run down our dining room wall. So the wallpaper actually turned loose from the drywall in there, we knew that we needed to address it because the wallpaper letting loose from the drywall is not that big of a deal. I can always fix that. It is, the problem is if that drywall gets moldy or anything like that, that would be the issue. And we do not want to have to go back and replace all that. So now that you know all the reasons and the leaks and the coldness of why we're getting new siding, I will explain what we are having done. So it is going to be our friends that are going to be, we told him he was going to be like lead on this. So he's going to be telling everybody what to do. But we are going to have 8 people here total. So it's going to be me, Ben, my mom and dad, my brother, Ben's dad, Ben's brother, and then our friends. So I think that's everybody that's going to be. So we're going to have a crew of 8. That's why I'm trying to get all this food made up before, because we are going to feed breakfast and lunch, but I just don't want to be in here cooking the whole time. So I want to be able to be out there and help and be useful, because it is going to be a really big job. I'm filming this on Wednesday. I'm hoping to get it edited on Wednesday, the same day that I film it. And then the days that we are doing this is the 30th, 31st, and the 1st. So Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are when we're going to be doing this. But what we are going to be doing is taking everything on the outside down to the studs. So most people, whenever they buy an old house, they do it on the inside. Well, we do not want to do that just because we love our plaster walls, but also we're living here now, so it creates such a mess that it's unreal inside, trying to clean up all the dust and the plaster. It creates such a fine dust. It is worse than drywall dust, I promise, because it is dirty dust. Since we've already done so much inside, we do not want to go backwards in here, so we're doing it all from the outside. So right now on this north part of the house, the front part of the house, and then the long side where the basement door is and the basement walkout, and then it comes over to the back side of the bedroom and kitchen here. That is what we're going to focus on doing, just because those are the 2 worst sides of the house. So we're going to have a lot of people that are going to be doing demo. So we're going to take everything off, all the lap siding. They're going to be pulling all the nails out, everything. The lap siding we know is not salvageable. The lap siding is just a goner. It is not salvageable. It is not like other people's restoration stories that I've seen. It would cost us way more money to try and restore it or to go back with cedar siding. So it's just not in the budget, and we're not going to be able to do that. And once we get the lap siding off, our house does have a little bit of insulation. It has all failed to the downstairs. So we are going to be pulling that out of the wall cavities, which, to be honest, there's not much in it from what we can tell, to make sure that nothing is rotted, and we're expecting it just because of the shape of the lap siding. We know that around all the windows is pretty much rotted out. But while we have the wall cavity open and we can access all of this, we are going to go ahead and, I'm not sure, Ben would do a much better job at explaining this than me, but since we have balloon framing, we are going to be putting a fire block in there. I don't know exactly what it is. I know that one is getting put in, and then we're going to be putting new insulation. And then after the insulation, we're going to be putting OSB, then house wrap. This right here is where I know I'm going to lose a lot of people. We are going to go back with vinyl just because we cannot afford the cedar siding, and vinyl is literally a fraction of the cost. It was always my dream and my goal to restore the house and get cedar back on the exterior. That is just not going to happen, especially not right now. Now, if something changes and in years to come, we just have extra money and we want to get the lap siding put back on, we totally can. But for now, it's just what our budget allows. And our previous contractor that we had used for our roof and other things told us that he would never put vinyl on this house. And since talking to our friend, he builds his houses for a living also, he said that he has no doubt. So we are going to be going with vinyl. We thought about doing metal, but I thought it would look too much like a barn because it would be like the roofing metal. It's not like the board and batten metal siding that you can get now. I wanted that too, but that is outrageously expensive. It's up there with the price of cedar. So you guys will probably notice that we do not have windows for a while. And that is just because they are being custom made. And like I said, this has come about very, very quickly. But in the background of my videos and stuff, the kitchen should be fine because that is a newer window. We put that in whenever we moved. But on all the rest of the house, we are going to be getting rid of all the windows because they leak. They are not... We only have, in the whole entire house, we only have 3 original single pane old windows left, which in a house with this many windows is not many because we have to buy 19 windows, I believe. So our plan is whenever we're doing the demo, we're going to take out all of our old windows. We're going to, of course, check the framing and everything, make sure that it's ready for new windows to go in because we're getting new construction windows. But that is our plan for now. And like I said, it is happening very, very quickly just because winter is coming and it does need to get a move on. And the windows, they will take quite some time to get done because they are all custom made because they are the floor to ceiling windows. They're not the standard, like, whatever it is, 3x5 maybe. So they are going to take a little bit of time to be made. And that is why we have to just board them up. But since they are custom made, they will take a while to come in. And whenever they do come in, we will just cut out where the hole is for the window to go and put those in. But everything is set in motion now. And it should happen pretty quickly. Like I said, I'm filming this on Wednesday. The next day we're going to be starting. So I think you guys will see this on a Friday if I can get it out in time. If not, then it may be a little bit later. But the 30th, 31st, and the 1st is when we're going to be working on the house. But that is going to be it for now. So whenever there is another update to give, I will update you guys as soon as possible. And I will try and get clips whenever we are working on the house outside. I'm not sure how much I'll get just because, like I said many times before, I try to respect everybody's privacy. But the next video may be of the entryway. I'm not sure. It just depends on whenever I can get it done and when we get time to finish up the ceiling, because the ceiling is the only thing left in there. And then I can start decorating it, which I'm pretty excited about. But that is going to be it for this video. So thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry it was all over the place, but we're finally making some more house progress. So I hope you guys will like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.